All right, having a quorum, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's the Monterey County EMS Operations Subcommittee meeting. Thank you all for coming and calling in today. Much appreciated. Steve, we'll go ahead and with calling the meeting to order, go ahead with welcome and introductions. Roll call. Or I'm sorry, it's going to be Kimberly, right?
Yes.
Kimberly.
Yes. Okay. Keith Boyd.
Here, Chief of Police, King City, but law enforcement alternate on behalf of Tina Nieto.
Cassie Caldera.
Here.
Will Hiller. Dave Jednick.
Dave Jednick here, City of Carmel.
Olivia Madrigal. Jeff Horner.
Present, air ambulance providers.
And Scott Houchin. And Kimberly Hernandez, EMS Agency.
Deborah Hopgood, EMS Agency.
Teresa Rios, EMS Agency.
Steve Brooks, EMS Agency.
John Burley, EMS Medical Director.
Great, thank you. Any other guests that would like to introduce themselves?
Jeff, I don't know if you guys can hear me, but my name's Chris Kusner. I'm underneath Jeff with the air ambulance people.
Welcome. Thank you, Chris. Okay, without further ado, moving along.
Sandra Flores and my communications.
Uh-oh. Sandra's in the Twilight Zone.
Did you guys hear me? I'm sorry, I'm in dispatch. Did you guys hear me? Hi.
Yeah,
We can hear you. You're just really slow.
You sound like you're hanging out with Wall-E on a desolate planet right now.
Well, we know I don't talk slow.
Sounds like there's something other than coffee in that coffee.
We are being recorded.
Yeah.
True.
All right, Sandra, thank you for joining.
This will be fun.
Yeah, true.
Always
Let's
good.
make sure she gets the first question.
I'm gonna text her, but
Yeah, sounds like my last patient. Wait, Wait,
looks like
is that-
somebody called in. Yeah, Sandra, it's not working. Thank you.
I text her so she knows.
is she trying to pretend to be Fernando?
as well.
Oh, thank you. Okay, Olivia's here.
Hi, Olivia.
Okay,
Hi.
that was very cool. Very colorful round of introduction. Thank you all. I'm just gonna. Can we mute her?
Oh, don't mute Sandra. She doesn't like that.
Doesn't look like I have that authority, but it could still be playing out something she said 5 minutes ago. I don't know.
I'm good, guys.
It shows she's muted.
All right.
I don't know. Okay, anyway, moving on.
Good to know she's not hitting one of the criteria on the be fast. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, item number 2, everyone. Public comment. Any member of the public may address the committee for a period not to exceed 3 minutes on any issue not on the committee's agenda. The committee will listen to all communications but may not take any action. Do we have any public comment? Okay, very well. Hearing none. Item number 3, approval of the past ops meeting minutes. We have 3 that we would need a motion to approve. This includes our last meeting on March 9th and then the 2 special meetings for AB 361 on April 8th and May 4th. Do we have a motion if anyone was able to review those meeting minutes?
Make motion to approve.
Thank you, Dave. Do we have a second?
Make sure it's Sandra that does the second. Sandra.
I'll second them.
Thank you, Chief Boyd.
She got
Roll.
muted.
Roll call.
Okay,
I'm sorry, Kimberly.
Yes, Chief Boyd.
Steve's right up here in my purview.
Aye.
And Cassie Caldera,
Aye.
Dave Jednick,
Aye.
Olivia Madrigal,
Aye.
Jeff Horner.
Aye. Okay. Motion is approved and the motion carries for approval of the minutes. Correspondence, do we have any correspondence?
No, we did not.
No correspondence. That brings us on to reports. EMS agency update by Teresa Rios.
Thank you. The agenda, there is a staff report highlighting some of the recent activities of the EMS agency. One item that I do want to highlight is the Mpds categorization of MED calls. Similar to the work that we did with the unconfirmed alarm calls. Thanks to David for bringing that up. We are looking at the remaining calls that are in the general bucket labeled MED to see if those can be better categorized so that we can, continue to improve the system. Once the review is complete, we will bring that to committee. Similar process as we did with the unconfirmed alarm calls, and propose any changes if we see that any changes are needed.
Thank you for that, Teresa. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Teresa?
I just have a question in general. So we were looking at the unconfirmed medical. I'm sorry, we're still waiting for data on that, correct?
Yes, that's so. Sandra, well, okay, I'm not going to ask Sandra to.
No.
Okay. Because it might take a while, but Sandra and Angie Lopez, her supervisor, we met last month to go over it. I think it was, and I just don't have it in front of me, that they started coding those unknown medical calls that we had talked about as a precautionary medical. So they're making sure, and there's also an EMD determinant that can capture some of those. So I think we're meeting at the end of this month to go over each month at a time to make sure that the dispatchers are putting the correct type of call into that bucket, because it's a little more gray than the unknown medical alarms where it's a little more cut and dry. This one's a little more up for interpretation. So we want to make sure the right calls are falling into that so that when we do run data, we're running data on the right call.
That's awesome. And there's no rush. I mean, I think it's, these are things that we're tasked to do to improve the system. So that's great.
Yeah, and we do want to monitor anytime that we make a change. We want to make sure that we monitor the change closely just to see how it actually impacts the system. You know how it is. We run the data, we think it's going to do something, then you implement, and we just got to watch it. But so the intent is to bring data back to the community.
That's awesome. So we're 6 months into the medical alarm call now. Do we have any follow through on that? Is it staying consistent with our findings?
So we were going to wait until the 6 months was up to then run the data. So
Perfect.
The 6 months is almost up because I think it was implemented in the middle to late November.
Yeah.
But that sounds right to me. And so we also have a meeting scheduled to go and dig around and audit the data. So
I mean, Sandra can answer this. It's probably a yes or no. Has there been any significant, events that were dispatched and they turned out to be something different? I mean, like standout, unusual kind of things, or has it just been status quo on the medical alarm call?
I think it's been status quo.
Oh, there she is.
Can you hear me good?
Yes.
Much better.
Your voice synthesizer is down. Cool. Well, that's good. I mean, that's awesome.
I mean, we've had maybe one or two issues where we talked to dispatchers about where there's some gray area still with, medical alarm, where it's a little unclear if contact's been made or not made, or if it's medical or not medical. So we're still having those conversations as well.
right, and a lot of those calls, they go through, or when they go through the call adjudication process, I talk with Sandra if I'm like, oh, I don't know, maybe you should talk to the dispatchers about how this should have been handled, or should they have done this differently. So still working on those small things, but her and I talk pretty regularly, and she hasn't brought anything up that was concerning.
Thank you.
Good, thank you, Dave. Any other questions for Teresa? Okay, hearing none, moving along to item number 6, old business, operations membership. Kimberly?
Okay, so 3 of the ops subcommittee members are set to expire at the end of June, and 2 have been renominated and have been endorsed by EMCC. That's Jeff Horner and Olivia Madrigal. And we are still waiting to get a response from Leanne if she would like to serve another term as the alternate for county communications. And we have a new member, Christopher Kusner, who was nominated and has been endorsed by EMCC. So the appointment letters will go out.
I'm sorry, what is Christopher's affiliation?
Oh, I'm sorry. He's a EMS aircraft provider alternate.
Got it.
He's my alternate, Dave.
Oh, I knew you had an alternate.
Okay, thank you very much, Kimberly. And under old business, we also have triage tags day for Steve Brooks.
So a few months ago, we reviewed a call King City area with 10 patients. No triage tags were used. And in looking at this call, it seemed like the reason the triage tags weren't used potentially was due to a lack of familiarity with the tags, not remembering that they're used for multiple patients, outside of something that's just so massive like a train crash or a bus crash or something like that. So we have not done a triage tag training since our triage tag days, probably 7 years ago or more. So it seems like something that we should give a try, see if it will help with familiarity of tags and improve the usage of tags. So you can see in your packet that there's an infographic, if you will, that lists the goals, which is clearly to improve familiarity with the tag, the understanding of what the tag is and how it's used and what boxes to check and those things. Again, we should be sure that start triage is for front and foremost in people's minds in MCIs, because the tag is lined up for start triage. And then of course we want to be able to track patients from the field through to their final destination, which especially when we had our Soledad bus crash and all the patients pretty much spoke French, was difficult to track them by name. And the triage tag number was instrumental in helping us to locate the patients and find out what happened to them. And for those patients who didn't keep the triage tag number in their first hospital encounter, we did have some difficulty tracking those patients down. So we're looking for a couple of days in the month that we're going to have the triage tag day, try to hit as many different shifts as possible. It's a full 24-hour period. And of course, we want all patients to get a triage tag. And these are the 911 calls, not interfacility transports. We want people to use the marking on the tags as far as the severity level according to start triage, even though the regular assessment and care of the patient might identify the patient as more or less critical than it would be under start triage. And there's a few patients, of course, we won't put triage tags on. It just looks bad to put a triage tag on a patient that's obviously dead. Coroner gets to tag those patients. Prisoners, we don't give them anything that they can use that might be harmful, and patients on a 5150 hold for the same reason. And then we're also looking for the receiving hospital to continue to log the triage tag numbers with their patient identifiers so that they can also help us with tracking the patient. We'll be doing some sampling of that. And then, the tags need to go to somebody. So the ambulance is considered the transport group supervisor, so that they'll be the ones collecting the transport group soup piece of the tag and turning those in through their administration. Of course, we'll review them, make sure we have all the tags. We'll be looking to primarily just make sure that they're used. And then as we continue on with the program, then we'll be doing some additional QI stuff, making sure that the tags are fully filled out and that they're filled out with the appropriate information, and the people seem to be familiar with the tags. And then, as the program details, right now it's looking at 3 times a year. The EMS agency will be providing triage tag replacements. Everybody should have tags. It's a authorized stock with a specified minimum number for each unit, depending on if it's transport or first response unit. And as far as our timeline goes, we're looking to begin in July with some training. The agency should be putting out a training tool to help with understand what we're planning to do, and some tips on how to use the triage tags and learning about the tags. And then August we'll start with the first triage tags and then continue on every 4 months. So that's kind of the outline of where we're started. And if we hit some bumps, this may change a little bit, but that's what we're working towards right now. Any questions?
Keith here. I have a couple comments. I would, having overseen a coroner's office in California for over 5 years and having written a mass fatality plan for coroner operations, I would encourage you to distribute the black tags. I know they're deceased, but that's a statement that somebody has declared them deceased. And so it's part of triaging. And so that somebody's checked them, made a decision, they are deceased, and they've tagged them. And that's how it sits. And it makes it clear for the coroner when they do come on scene, I address black tags. And it is a cleaner, easier process. It's just a recommendation for consideration. And I'm not sure how this county's mass fatality plan is actually written. We would want to take a peek at that county mass fatality plan to make sure that piece aligns up, but it is easier. And I've been around the country at coroners across around the country, and they all recommend it that I've talked to.
That's an interesting consideration to add those tags. It adds a layer of complexity, and of course, the triage tag does have the black tag markers already on them. So, but I'll make a note and see what we can do to if that makes sense.
Yeah, I got it. I have a question.
Yes, please.
Regarding who is going to be initiating, like are we expecting the first responder agencies to start this, or is the ambulance supposed to do this, or is the ambulance just picking it up?
Good question. And it should be whoever's there first with the patient on that day, much as the first arriving unit, at least one of the members will be assigned to triage. So that would be whoever's job would be assigned triage, should be the one placing the tag.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Steve, and thank you, Chief Boyd. I think that was good feedback. And I do remember having triage days back in the day, Steve, and I think it's like any other infrequent skill. If you don't have many MCIs or utilize them very often, you pull them out and blow the dust off, and there's probably a good value to put these days back in play and have people have more frequent familiarization with them. So I'm glad to see it. Okay, moving along to new business. Item A, 2021 EMS Annual EMS Agency Report. Dr. Burley and Teresa Rios.
Thank you. Also attached to the agenda was our 2021 EMS Annual Report. We are presenting it to the Board of Supervisors next week. It was presented at MAC and EMCC earlier today. Just as a reminder to the committee that we switched it from a fiscal year to a calendar year, and to give the presentation to take it to the Board of Supervisors in the month of May, taking advantage that it is in May we have EMS week. The board will also do a proclamation of issue a resolution declaring next week EMS week. We take time to reflect on everything that we've done And I have to say that I am amazed about all of the work that we do. And I didn't do it earlier, but I do want to say that I'm very grateful for the team that we have here at EMS and the dedication of Kimberly, of Deborah, Steve, and the people that are always behind the scenes with Corina and Carolina, Dr. Burley. There's so much work that goes behind the scenes. Everything that we do, we just do it. And there aren't that many opportunities for us to highlight the work that we do. At the same time, we can't talk about our accomplishments without recognizing the work of our stakeholders and the partnerships and all of the input and the discussions, sometimes not easy ones, but needed to continue to improve the system. So I'm very grateful to all of you. And if I miss somebody, forgive me. Dr. Burley?
Thanks, Teresa. Well said. I really appreciate the efforts of the agency, our EMS analysts, MA3, and Teresa as well, and leading the agency. It's a complicated thing. There's a lot of nuance to it, and it's really important work. And so it's a pleasure to be part of the team. And I also really enjoy working with all of you. I think it's, this is a complex system, and it takes many voices to get it right. And it's an ongoing project, right? It's never perfect. And so as we meet in committee and in our various QA groups and all the other ways that we come together, I appreciate how much effort and time everyone puts into this, because it's super important. And I think the residents of Monterey County, get excellent care through the collaborative effort of the entire team. So thank you all.
Thank you, Teresa, and thank you, Dr. Burley. And I'd just like to add that it's been a pleasure, and we very much appreciate and enjoy working with yourself as the EMS medical director, and Teresa Rios as EMS director. Been part of the EMS system here in Monterey County for almost 3 decades now, and been on various committees over the years. And I've got to say, this is a time where things feel more collaborative and more supportive than many other times in the past. So it's well overdue and much appreciated feeling, and to all of your staff, it's much appreciated. So thank you all.
I too would like to echo Jeff's sentiment there, and I think things have been moving quite smoothly recently, and I think you guys have been building a good team over there, and it's been nice to work with. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dave.
Dave, we're recruiting, by the way, so give us some thought.
And a different retirement system, maybe.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, next item is operations chair and vice chair nominations. This is an action item. Dave and I have, believe it or not, a year has already gone by, and this meeting concludes our 1-year stint as chair and vice chair. And we're looking for any other nominations to potentially pass the baton on to going into our July meeting. I think anybody that is on the committee that is not present today are certainly fair game.
I nominate Chief Nieto.
I'll second that.
She asked me to be here on her behalf, so I assume that meant truly thinking of her future.
Absolutely. Any discussion or consideration?
I'm more than happy to continue doing the vice chair if needed.
Dave, I think you should step up. You've done a fantastic job as vice chair with all the commentary and making this meeting so powerful. In all honesty, my plate's getting fuller and fuller, as all of ours is all the time. And, I think that, to do our due diligence with the items on here, somebody that works the ground, Dave, day in and day out, that's very close to these items, and very intimate and familiar with them would be a great representative. So I don't know if
I'll amend my nomination. I'll amend Dave for chair and Chief Nieto for vice chair or assistant
Oh
chair.
my God. You guys are, good thing my camera's not on right now, so you can't see what my face looks like.
So we have a nomination, right? Kimberly, do we need to take a vote, or is this just, a voluntold? How can we tell if Dave is the new chair?
I feel like I'm being pressured right now.
Well,
I would be more than
The
happy to
nomination?
accept the nomination. So I don't know what I got to do, but I'll use all you guys as my resource. So perfect.
all right, so we'll need to vote on there has to be a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept the nomination of Dave Jednick as chair of EMS operations and Chief Nieto as vice chair.
Dave, you can second the nomination.
I'm sorry.
We need a second.
It's permissible for you to second the nomination.
I guess I'll second myself. Wait, what about Sandra? What about her?
So we have a nomination that's been accepted, and do we need Chief Nieto's acceptance of her nomination, or can we just vote her in?
I think Chief Boyd just accepted the nomination on her
Yeah.
behalf.
Yeah.
Okay, great. She's gonna love him. Okay, so do we need to do a roll call vote then on
Yes.
this? Okay.
Okay. Chief Boyd.
Aye, I support that.
Okay, Jeff Horner,
Aye.
Olivia Madrigal. Dave Jednick,
If you can vote for yourself, aye.
Cassie Caldera. Oh, she's gone already. All right. Olivia,
Aye.
thank you.
Aye. Aye.
Got it, thank you.
Thanks, Olivia.
I didn't realize I was muted, so.
Do I have to fill out like campaign contribution paperwork with the Department of Elections and all that?
Is that everybody, Kimberly?
Yes, that's everyone.
Okay, so the motion carries, and congratulations, Dave, and my congratulations and condolences to Chief Nieto.
You guys are
Very
brutal.
good. Thank you all. Next item is item C, AB 361, the requirements for remote meetings. Kimberly?
We need a motion to consider finding that we can continue meeting remotely and that the COVID-19 pandemic state of emergency declared and that we have considered the circumstances.
I make a motion.
Any discussion?
And I'll second that.
Okay, roll call vote.
Okay. Chief Boyd,
Aye.
Dave Jednick,
Aye. Oh, wait. Where am I? Aye.
Olivia Madrigal,
Aye.
Jeff Horner.
Aye.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you all. And that being said, our next special meeting date is scheduled for Wednesday, June 8th. Kimberly, will this still be at 9:30 considering the combination of MAC and EMCC with the extra agenda item?
Probably not. So I will reach out to all the subcommittee members to give the new time, but it will still be on June 8th.
Okay, great. Then we'll watch for that updated invite.
Mhm.
With that, moving along, announcements and for the good of the order. Anybody have any announcements? Anything for the good of the order?
I have an announcement. I don't know if it's, but don't forget Salinas Valley Fair this week. Come join South County. It's gonna be a great occasion, big attendance expected. It's been, last fair was 2019, so it's been a long time since we've been able to get everybody together, but I encourage everyone, if you have the time, to come on down to King City and take a look.
That's awesome. Glad to hear of it reopening, and yeah, it should be a great attendance. I'm sure everybody's eager to get out there. Should be a nice weekend also. Okay. Anything else for the good of the order?
No, there's just a couple items that were on there about California STEMI and Stroke Summit. It's going to be held virtually. The flyer was included in your packet for June 27th and 28th. And there is a active shooter training being held by the county that's in person on May 24th and 25th. And the flyer was also included in the packet.
Great. Thank you for that, Kimberly. Okay, unless anybody has anything else, then our next regularly scheduled meeting will be held on Wednesday, July 13th at 1 p.m. And that is expected to be via Zoom. And I think are we still offering a physical location participation as well, or do we anticipate that just being remote, all remote?
As of right now, a hybrid.
A hybrid.
Never know if things will change, so.
Perfect. Okay.
And just for full disclosure, I am planning to be out of the country for that time, but hopefully I'll have internet access for the hybrid.
Okay, thank you for letting us know.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you all very much for calling in. And without any further, we will go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Everybody have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.